Before this, Dr. Sun Myung Moon and Dr. Hak Ja Han Moon applied this concept in their quest for world peace. They advocated the smallest unit, the family, is where world peace and happiness begins. The family is where we first learn to live for the sake of others. We are calling this concept micro-peace.
Peace begins in the family, specifically in the relationship of parents loving their children unconditionally and children developing the heart of filial love toward their parents. Brought into society, this principle of living for others creates good character in citizens, patriots in nations, and saints in the world. But it all begins in the family.
The greatest peace sprouting from the smallest unit, one human family under God. In 2005, Father and Mother Moon launched UPF with a world tour emphasizing a new vision of peace. Night after night, city after city, visiting one nation per day, they taught that the family is not only the school of love, it is also the cornerstone of world peace. Beginning with the establishment of the Collegiate Association for the Research of the Principle in 1966, the many institutions they have founded convey a vision of peace and teach universal principles that strengthen marriage and the family.
When I was young, I took the Pure Love Pledge and it changed my life. From that day onwards, I was able to build my character and moral values. For the happiness and future of my students, I am continuing teaching Pure Love education at my school.
Father and Mother Moon have established more than 50 educational institutions around the world. MOUs have been signed and character education is being taught in thousands of schools on all continents and in all cultural spheres, East and West. After Father Moon passed away, Mother Moon carried out his intentions and established the Wonno Pyongne Scholarship Foundation, which supports the education of youth and students globally. The Sanok Peace Prize honors and supports heroes who are creating a culture of sustainable peace and are role models for future generations to look back on. On February 23, 2017, Mother Moon, the first international chairwoman of the Women's Federation of World Peace, launched Youth and Students for Peace.
위하여 사는 참 사랑을 실천하는, 나눠줘도 더 부족함을 느끼고 더 나눠주고 싶고, 이런 마음 자세, 이런 환경을 만들어 가야 하는 너희들 앞에 책임이 있다.
With the support of Women's Federation for World Peace and the Universal Peace Federation, YSP is a rapidly growing global network of game changers.
เยาวชนและนักเรียนแห่งสันติภาพคือความหวังและอนาคตของโลกโดยผ่านความรักที่บริสุทธิ์และความกตัญญูจะเป็นจุดเริ่มต้นแห่งความสุขและสันติภาพโลก
एउटा असल परिवार समाज समृद्ध राष्ट्र निर्माणको लागि युवा विद्यार्थी अवस्थाबाट नै सकारात्मक विचार उच्च भलाइ साँचो प्रेमको अभ्यास गर्न आवश्यक छ
À travers la Fédération des jeunes et des étudiants pour la paix, je travaillerai afin d'accomplir de grands rêves.
Youth and Students for Peace, YSP, builds on the past and opens doors of hope for the young generation through academics, service, sports, international exchanges, universal character education, environmental responsibility, among other things. In Asia, Africa, Korea, Japan, the US, Central and South America, Europe and Oceania, YSP is becoming a wave of goodness sweeping the world today. The idea of one family under God is taking root and growing in the hearts of people, young and old alike. Be a part of this global awakening. Let's create a new future working together. We can do it.
One, two, one. towards sustainable peace.
So hello, good afternoon. Ngayon po namimili kami ng mga groceries para sa mga tutulungan nating homeless people. Maraming salamat po sa mga nag-support and nag-donate. Thank you so much.
Hello po! Thank you so much for supporting our service project! Hopefully, you will continue to support us kasi we plan to continue this program pa rin po. Thank you! Thank you so much! thank you so much sa lahat ng nag-support. And this is our second wave and hindi namin ito magagawa kung wala yung mga nag-support sa activities namin, especially sa mga nag-donate and sa mga partners namin. So thank you so much as well sa mga volunteers. So yeah, next time ulit or next month. So thank you so much. And yeah, ganun ulit, hindi naman lahat tulungan, pero at least this time mas marami kami nabigyan, kasama rin yung mga bata. So it's really masaya sa pakiramdam. It's hindi siya matatawaran ng kahit ganong pera, pero yung pagtulong sa kanila malaking bagay talaga yun. So hopefully marami pa ulit mag-support sa activities namin and make sure talaga namin na makakarating yun siya sa kanila.
I am Leslie Ramos. I am the moderator for this afternoon's event. And I am welcoming you guys to the Leaders Connect webinar series this October 26, 2020. With the theme. Hello everyone. I am Leslie Ramos, the moderator for this afternoon's event. And I am welcoming you guys to the Leaders Connect webinar series this October 26, 2020, with the theme, Let's Talk Mental Health Matters. So to start, we're going to watch a 5-minute video about mental health. Let's all watch this.
The current challenges brought about by COVID-19 for people all around the globe are unparalleled and have caused fear, anxiety, and uncertainty for so many of us. We are all going through this together, and it's important to understand that you're not alone in how you're feeling right now, and that there are practical, healthy ways to cope with these emotions. The COVID-19 pandemic has created unprecedented change and a need for a response from everyone around the globe. Many of us are worried about our loved ones and our livelihoods, and there is no one right way to cope with what we're experiencing. Remember, however you're feeling, there are others that feel the same. You are not alone. Here are a few voices of people struggling to cope during this time.
I'm okay. I'm doing my best to adjust. Yesterday, I couldn't stop crying. It's so unfair, and I feel so angry that this is happening to us. I'm struggling to care for my kids and work from home at the same time, and I'm worried about my parents' health. I watch the news and it just seems so hopeless. I don't know how to keep it together.
I feel so lost and sad. So much has changed. I used to have dinner every week with my family, but now I can't be in the same room with them. I really miss them.
I'm missing out on my prom and my graduation. I've literally been looking forward to these things my whole life, and I'm heartbroken.
With everything going on now, I just can't stop my thoughts. And physically, my chest hurts, and I can't breathe. I get nauseous thinking about what could happen to my family and my friends.
Before this happened, I used to worry all the time about getting sick. Now that worry has turned into absolute terror. My heart races every time I have to go to the store. What if I bring germs home with me? I can't stop washing my hands.
No matter how exhausted I am, my sleep is still terrible. I just keep picturing all the things that could possibly happen. Will I ever get a good night's sleep again?
I've been through so much already. I don't know how I'm going to deal with this too. My flashbacks are getting worse and worse.
Honestly, I feel like I'm more comfortable in times of crisis. I'm not sure why I don't feel as upset as everyone else does right now.
I don't know when or if everything is going to get back to normal. I feel like the weight of the world is on my shoulders. How many people are going to be affected? What does this mean for me and my family?
We've just heard some of the ways people are being affected by the COVID-19 situation. Here are some things that are helpful in building resilience during times of crisis and intense stress. There are a lot of things outside of our control right now, which can be scary. By focusing on the things we can control, we can refuel ourselves and become more grounded and able to focus and cope with all of the things we can't control. One of the most important actions within your control is to follow CDC guidelines to reduce your chance of being exposed or passing the virus on to others. Use social support. No one should go through this alone. There is absolutely no shame in talking about what you're going through with your friends and family, and it's important to be there for others too. Video chat and phone calls are a great way to stay connected. Prioritize self-care. Staying on a regular schedule, exercising, eating a healthy diet, keeping a sleep routine, and taking time to meditate or pray are all important, now more than ever. Be gentle with yourself. During times like this, you will have good days and bad days. Your emotions are most likely heightened at this time. Try not to compare your life to what you see on your friends' social media feeds. There is always more going on behind screens. Helping others can bring joy and gratification. Do what you can to help others, even if it's something as simple as lending an ear or making someone smile. Be kind to the people around you, especially the folks who are still out working, to ensure we all have what we need. If each day feels like an uphill battle, it may help to seek out professional support. To continue helping during this time of social distancing, many mental health providers are using telemental health in their practice. If you can't afford therapy or need to talk to someone right away, you can call the Suicide Prevention Lifeline 24 hours a day at 1-800-273-8255. You are not alone in how you are feeling. There are things you can do and resources you can use to cope during this challenging time. Check out our library for more videos to learn more about mental health, dealing with isolation, and ways to cope. We're all in this together.
So that has been a 5-minute video about mental health. So for our opening remarks, he graduated BSIE at Timsu MLUC, and he is currently the Regional Director of the FFWPU in Region 1, and also the YSP Pilipinas Vice President. So without further ado, let us all welcome Mr. Froilan Matbagan Jr.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much to our moderator, Ms. Blessy Ramos, our CARP President of Don Mariano Marcos State University Chapter. Good afternoon, everyone. To our main speaker, Dr. Sigihiro Suzuki, Chief Director, Medical Corporation, Shin Aikai, Japan. To all our panelists, to Mr. Avelino Rivera, Acting Operation Head, Manila Youth Development and Welfare Bureau, to Mr. Kenneth Bermejo, a guidance advocate of Santo Tomas de Villanueva Parochial School, to Honorable Dr. Candice Tupas, our City Councilor of Iloilo City, and to all participants, my sincere, warm greetings and welcome to each and everyone. We truly appreciate your response to our invitation to this Leaders Connect webinar series with the theme, Let's Talk, Mental Health Matters. To give you background about the organization, International Association of Youth and Students for Peace, also known as YSP, is an NGO comprised of a global family of young people who are building a peaceful society through youth empowerment. Founded in February 23, 2017 in Chongpyeong, South Korea, by the founder, Dr. Hak Jae-moon, who is well known as a Mother of Peace. In October 26, 2017, we have officially inaugurated and registered YSP in the Philippines. As active and progressive organization, the Youth and Student for Peace Pilipinas was also registered at the National Youth Commission of the Republic of the Philippines as a youth serving organization. YSP has invested in the education, development, and nurturing future leaders, contributing to the achievement of the 17 UN Sustainable Development Goal, or SDGs. The organization projects includes character education, service projects, peace designers training, as well as creating opportunities through sports, arts, and culture. Recognizing our youth leaders' accomplishment and contribution, appointing them as Youth Ambassador for Peace and Heroes Award. Thus, YSP has transformed the reality of various communities around the world, making them realize that their small action make a difference as a result in major transformation. As you all are aware, the most serious social problems are related to a confusion of moral values and breakdown of the family. Our young people today face a wide range of vulnerabilities that include sustained abuse or substance abuse, sexual immorality, a crisis of identity which negatively impact to our society and even the environment. The COVID-19 pandemic is now hitting our youth, families, communities with additional mental stress and depression. According to national calendar, close to 800,000 people died by suicide every year. Furthermore, for each suicide, there are more than 20 suicide attempts. This has a ripple effect that impact on families, friends, colleagues, communities, and societies. This problem seems accelerating along with our economic recovery and technological advancement. YSP offers solutions and hope more than just an idea whose time has come. These young people are working together to build a culture of values and integrity based on universal principles rooted in the family. This initiative is expanding into a global awakening. Leaders Connect webinar series is a conference-type program, an avenue for youth and student leaders to gather and discuss relevant and prevalent national and world problems, highlighting the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal as part of the solutions. For today's topic, as we are facing a lot of suicide cases around the world and our country is not spared, let us help encourage our youth and students to learn how to handle depression and anxiety, especially during this pandemic, as we are currently living in the new normal. By listening to our distinguished speakers, we could gain a lot of insights and ways which would help our youth today. Let's break the stigma and we shall overcome. Thank you very much.
So thank you so much for that opening remarks by Mr. Froilan Matbagan Jr. So bago po tayo pumasok sa ating main speaker for this afternoon, magkakaroon po muna tayo ng entertainment given by our, kilala niyo po siya actually kung pumunta po kayo sa Young Sound of Peace. She is one of the performers there and she is really beautiful and talented. So are you all ready to listen for her beautiful voice? So let us all welcome Miss Katrina Segovia.
Hello po. Thank you so much for joining this mental health awareness program conducted by YSP Pilipinas. I hope na through this song po, you will gain courage and strength and hope to continue fighting and to continue clinging on to life. Sana po, malampasan po ninyo lahat-lahat ng mga pinagdadaanan ninyo. And sana po, magustuhan ninyo ang song.
I would like to leave this city. This old town don't smell too pretty, and I can feel the warning signs running around my mind. And when I leave this island, I put myself into a soul asylum. I can feel the warning signs running around my mind. So here I go, I'm still scratching around in the same old hole. My body feels young, but my mind is very old. So what do you say? You can't give me the dreams of mine anyway. You're half the world away. You're half the world away. And when I leave this planet, you know it's day, but it just gets started. I can feel the warning signs running around my mind. And when I could leave this spirit, I'll find me a home and I live in it. I can feel the warning signs running around my mind. So here I go, I'm still scratching around in the same old hole. My body feels young, but my mind is very old. So what do you say? You can't give me the dreams that are mine anyway. You're half the world away. You're half the world away. You're half the world away. I've been lost, I've been found, but I don't feel down. You're half the world away. I've been lost, I've been found, but I don't feel down. I don't feel down.
So yun? Wow! What a wonderful, wonderful voice from Miss Katrina. So are you all like parang super kumalma po ba kayo? And parang nawala yung stress nyo? Ayan. Umpisa pa lang po yan. So let us have so are you all ready po pala for our main speaker for this afternoon? Yes. So let us all sit back and let us all welcome our main speaker for this afternoon. He graduated from Sapporo Medical School and he graduated from Graduate School of Medicine, University of Melbourne. He's the key center for women's health in society. He is also a medical doctor. He is the chairman of Sapporo Family Clinic Medical Corporation Shin-Aikai. He is a clinical professor in Kochi University School of Medicine. He is a medical mind coach, and he has been in 20 years since he opened in Sapporo and have been involved in medical treatment. The total number of medical treatments for his clients have been treated so far is more than 280,000. A unique approach that collaborates with medicine and coaching. and quick acting advice tailored to the client's face has been well received. So let us all welcome our main speaker for this afternoon, Dr. Shigehiro Suzuki.
Thank you very much for introducing me. I'm very happy to meet you. I am Shigehiro Suzuki. I'm a medical doctor in Japan. I would like to express my sincere gratitude to everyone for giving me the opportunity to make a presentation at Youth and Student for Peace. I would like to talk about the theme of world peace from the viewpoint of mental health under the title of Creating a New Environment. First, I will talk about world peace after the corona pandemic, and then I will talk about world peace comes from home. A world peace after the corona pandemic. One, what the corona pandemic means. Today, with the new coronavirus pandemic, we are faced with three major anxieties that we have never experienced in human history. It is anxiety about life, financial anxiety, and anxiety about the invisible. In other words, anxiety about the eternal life of the soul. In Japan, clusters have occurred, and some nursing home, karaoke shops, restaurants, etc., and in Sapporo, I live, 2 large hospitals have clusters. And medical personnel, such as doctors and nurses. Therefore, we are worried about the danger of medical collapse. However, we are able to barely overcome the crisis with the evidence-based air purifiers and clean rooms to inactivate the new coronavirus. But in a material civilization that prioritizes the body over the mind, it seems that a self-centered, selfish virus of the mind, that is negative emotional movement common to all humankind, that exists in the collective unconscious of humankind, created the new coronavirus. This corona pandemic is just the beginning of the end of material civilization. From now on, people's consciousness will shift from the corner of the body to the corner of the economy to the corner of the mind. On the other hand, it goes without saying that this is a turning point in human history. The era of seeking the symbol of affluence from things is over, and from now on, we have entered the era of heart, where spiritual affluence is required in the connection between people. However, there is no means to cut off the three major anxieties that originated from the new coronavirus and effective method to realize a prosperous world in the field of medical care, long-term care, welfare, school education, etc., related to human health. It is no exaggeration to say that we are in a very serious situation because there is a possibility of collapse due to the occurrence of further clusters. In other words, it is full of various problems, including individuals, homes, societies, nations, and the world. Today, when traditions and manuals are no longer valid, people have to think for themselves what to rely on. We had to walk on unexplored land without rails. Against this background, it is a sign that there is a growing worldwide interest in the mind and soul centered on meditation. In the face of an era, emotional anxiety and fear, there is an unconsciousness movement to find one's own base. Therefore, in addition to measures against disease based on the latest scientific evidence to protect human health, creation of a new environment for peaceful world that realizes economic and spiritual affluence is desired. Next, the key to the world peace. Then, what is the key to the solution for world peace? At my clinic, I mainly treat my mental problems, but 80% are women, and most of them are mothers. What I feel particularly strongly these days is that everyone in the world, without exception, raised in the mother's womb and born from the mother's abdomen. Mothers are great for all human beings. A mother gives birth and wishes her child happiness. This is an unchanging truth that doesn't change at any time, no matter how the times change. However, the mentioned earlier, there are various problems in the world, including individuals, families, societies, nations, and the world. Especially in the home, there are problems between husband and wife, problems with child rearing, such as school refusal up to child abuse. Or there are also other serious problems, such as financially distressed lives. Now is the time to gather the wisdom of humankind and create a new environment, including areas such as medical care, long-term care, welfare, and education. In particular, it is a mother who gives birth to a person, and it is a father who supports the mother. The power of parents who unite mothers and fathers supports the family, and the entire family, including the children, is reborn by parents, so that society, nation, and the world are reborn, and a new era will be created. Next, I will present about world peace comes from home. I mainly treat mental illness, mainly in psychosomatic medicine and psychiatry, including gynecology and internal medicine. It has been 20 years since I opened the clinic. We see an average of 50 to 60 people a day, but we have seen more than 1,000 times a month, more than 10,000 times a year, and at least 200,000 times. As a result, there are many points to notice to cure mental illness, but today I have limited time, so I would like to give you two particularly important and quick-acting advices. I hope you can convey the true meaning of it. That is, what you need to do to make your home healthy and peaceful is as follows. One, healing. That is, thorough healing of heart pain. For example, we have meditation. The real reason to meditate is to achieve enlightenment, which might be defined here as a more cosmic or energetic perspective of the structure of consciousness, a feeling of unity with all life forms, and an understanding of the spiritual workings behind physical reality. Ultimately, meditation may allow humans to come into closer relationship and greater comprehension of God, that is the Creator. In addition to the subtle energy activation of the various chakras, meditation causes physiologic effects in the body. When blockages and spiritual perceptions are dissolved and the behavior coming from the negative emotion is changed, the various illnesses derived from the fall, which have been created at higher vibrational levels, may be healed or lessened step by step. As we begin to pay greater attention to the function of the chakras and the relationship between human beings and God, much more new finding will be revealed, which will change the way in which human illness is conceptualized and treated by the physicians or medical staffs of the future. And second, the core approach. You must face your core and create your own environment. I will talking about healing. First of all, I have a question for you. Is your home healthy now? If yes, that's okay. But if no, what do you think is the cause? The most probable factor that causes a family to get sick is, in a word, negative emotions. You have felt a lot in the current environment. Unpleasant, painful, sad, or lonely, and so on. Or, why do I have to meet this kind of things? Or, why don't you understand my feelings, etc. What I found here is that the root cause is actually memory. That memory causes heart pain. Memory is the memories that you have experienced since you were born, but the more important thing is mental illness as a memory that existed before you were born, which is a lonely memory of not being loved. Therefore, it is necessary to separate, erase, and release the memories that cause negative emotions. However, the reality is that it is difficult to erase the memory. But the important thing is to change the quality of memory. In other words, it is to change the episodic memory that affects pain into meaning memory that gives the episode the value of meaning. This can be said to be an essence of cognitive behavioral therapy, and this will relieve the symptoms and lead to healing. However, remission is not the complete cure. This is because it will recur if you return to the original environment. The reason is that the root of the cause is the same. So, what is the difference between remission and complete cure? The only difference is simply one point. That is, even if the same thing is happening, it is understood differently. Until remission, when a painful thing happens, it is perceived as a bad thing. But as really the case, everything that happens makes sense. Until now, you just didn't notice it. Pain in your heart was a sign that you have something to notice in order to be happy. If you notice this, your pain in your heart will be reduced. Everything turns into gratitude. In other words, the healing of symptom relief alone doesn't solve the problems faced. The important thing is to get awareness that leads to a solution. Then, what's the most important thing to get noticed? It is to face your own origin, essence that is core, firmly. A core approach. The core approach begins with the origin of each individual with the absolute value of being unique. Each one faces the core, the purpose and mission created by God that only each person can realize, and draws endless dreams and visions. The creative consciousness that arose from the feelings of God, which is the emotional passion to obtain joy through love, circulate in the subconscious brain and consciousness and is further engraved into the subconsciousness by habits and emotions. In other words, the passion to love is the origin of the natural healing power, and it is this cycle that enhances the natural healing power for all illnesses and ultimately ends the illness. Then I will ask you again, what is your origin? You can draw your dreams and visions because you have an origin. All you have to do is draw an endless dream without setting limits. Based on this, you make a plan and then select the method, strategy, and tactics. As a result, you will realize that creating your own environment is the way to a solution rather than blaming the current environment for the painful cause. This is the power and essence of the core approach. Most people are just rushing to choose the method, so there is no reason for their dreams to come true. There are 2 points to note regarding this core approach. 1. Do not give up control. Not giving up control means not asking someone other than yourself for the cause that you cannot do, that is, not passing on responsibility. The moment you transfer responsibility to another, you have abandoned control. You can't solve it yourself, and you're not growing. On the other hand, with the person who has passed the responsibility, are aware of responsibility and solve the problem? Probably not. As a result, the problem will never be solved. If the other person humbly accepts it as his own responsibility and change his behavior, he is a person with a higher personality standard than you. Even if the other person is 100% blame, it is true that you are involved in the other person, and his behavior may have changed depending on your response. By finding your problem in the other person, taking everything as your problem, and deciding that you are responsible for the solution, you grow and the problem is solved. Next, strengthen relationships. Strengthening the relationships means not denying the other person's words and sympathizing with heart pain. For example, resonating and sympathizing with, I don't understand all your thoughts, but I understand your painful feelings. And it is important to bring out the good nature of the other party. Did you really want to do this? The above content applies to all couples, parents and children, and sibling relationships at home. From the above, what you need to do make your home healthy and peaceful is healing, that is, thorough healing of heart pain, and core approach, that is, you must face your core and create your own environment. Through the above, if the home becomes a place of peace and creativity, it will become the cornerstone of peace, leading to social peace, national peace, and world peace. World peace begins at home. Epilogue. There is an end to life on earth, living to remain as a memory of eternal love for loved ones, friends, and many people, while spending a limited amount of time and surviving to the end as much as possible. This means giving gratitude back to our parents and seems to be a way to lead to world peace. Let's work together to create a peaceful world, to give a life without regrets. That's all. Thank you very much for your attention.
our main speaker for this event, Dr. Shigehiro Suzuki. That was so new for me. And I will just give some points for these for his topic, which is creating a new environment. There is one question there na nag-stuck sa akin. Is your home healthy now? Is our home healthy now? We should reflect to this question, guys. Sabi doon, world peace comes or begins from our home. Healthy home is the key. So we have to change the quality of the memory in our family. So marami pa pong iba na sinabi si Dr. Suzuki, but alam ko na marami tayong natutunan, and sana ma-apply po natin to our real life. So once again, thank you so much po for our Dr. Shigehiro Suzuki. Now, for our panelist, magkakaroon naman po tayo ng panelist. Ayan, so our first panelist, he is currently working as a full-time guidance advocate at Santo Tomas de Villanueva Parochial School, a part-time college instructor at ERIST for 3 years, registered psychometrician and licensed professional teacher. He is currently taking masters in psychology with specialization in clinical setting in PUP Manila. He graduated BS Industrial Psychology in ERIST. His working experience mostly in guidance office related to testing, research, and counseling. His teaching experience in social psychology, psychology of human development, psychology of communication, biological sciences, introduction to logic, introduction to psychology, theories and techniques in counseling, psychological statistics, and results, life, and works. So are you all curious kung sino ang ating first panelist? So without further ado, let us all welcome Mr. Kenneth Charles Parmejo.
All right. Hello. Can everyone hear me? All right. Okay. I was really intrigued about the doctor's research, Dr. Suzuki. He has this focus on the negative how you feel. What you feel can cause a physiological and psychological effect on the body, not just psychological but physiological. Right. I'm gonna be sharing a PowerPoint with you guys. Okay. Right. Okay. That's actually my office in the guidance center. Right. So this what I'm going to focus on. People start to heal the moment they feel heard. That's from Cheryl Richardson. And what I wanted to emphasize on this one is that whenever someone is feeling depressed or feeling emotionally unstable or feeling something's not up with them, they actually just wanted someone to hear them. And what's happening now here in the Philippines is we're too focused on whenever someone's talking about mental health to them. For example, if my friend talks to me about his problem, about their problem in their family or whatever, your automatic reaction, the Filipinos' automatic reaction is to give advice or to share anything that could alleviate your friend's feelings. But actually, that's not what you're supposed to do. But that's not what you're supposed to do first, right? So sometimes, if if we can train ourselves to listen, just actual listening, it would make a big difference on someone's life. Because those statistics regarding depression or regarding people who take suicides or who has intention of suicide, those those people, if they have someone that they can talk to whenever they're feeling that way, that would actually make a difference on how they perceive things. It's the perception. It's always the perception. If you're having a hard, someone's listening for whatever problem that you're saying, that would really create a different feeling to them. That's the perception and how they're gonna see things now. So it's not always what you advise or what you tell the people that's telling you their problem. It's just being there. So you just have to be there, and you have to let them to have a lending ear. That's why my graphics there are bunnies. So I'm gonna read this one. Because we judge people too quickly without listening to what they have to say, or we just think that whenever someone talks to us regarding their mental health problem, we always think of what we can advise or tell them, when in reality, people just want others to listen to them. They don't need your advice. What they need is a lending ear. And lastly, this one. People just want to be heard. Most of the time, you don't need to tell them any advice of anything. Just being there at the moment can alleviate their negative feelings. Like, I get too emotional whenever I talk about this stuff, and that whenever it involves suicide too, because it's a sensitive topic, and I've got a bunch of clients or um, some students that had suicidal thoughts, and one of the um, main reason why they continue doing that, or whenever they started doing their suicidal ideation, is because they don't have anyone to talk to. They don't have anyone to tell their feelings to. They don't have anyone to tell their emotions to. So that's why they end up thinking that maybe I should just kill myself. So if someone is there for a person that's thinking of suicide now, just having someone that they can talk to, I I'm sure that that would really uh, change their decision. So what I'm just saying is, um, if if the typical Filipino don't know what to say, or don't even know what to say to someone who's having suicidal ideation or suicidal thoughts, just being there for them is going to help them in a really big way. You don't have to say anything. You don't have to quote whatever. Just be with them at the moment. But of course, eventually you'll have to consult a professional, so they'll be able to give their professional advice to those people who has suicidal ideation. Or if that's not the case, people having depression, just being there with the person, just being with them whatever they're going through, that would help them. Because sometimes we give people advice that's actually insulting to them. For example, if I'm having a hard time dealing with the death of a loved one, of my dog, for example, it's just my dog. So for you, it's just my dog. So someone's gonna tell me an advice like, oh, that's just your dog. You should not be feeling that way. So that's not how it works. You should not say anything like that, because whatever emotions other people are going through, you can never it can never be minimized. So you just have to understand their feelings and not minimize their emotions. So like what I've been saying, that you just have to be there for them. You don't have to tell them anything. That just being there will help them eventually. So that's it. That's my presentation for today, for this afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you so much po for our first panelist, Mr. Kenneth. Wow, actually masabi ko lang po doon, napaka-straightforward and parang yun na, punto na, nandun na yung punto. Lahat, every words are exact and parang yun na, napaka-importante lahat. So, ang pinaka naintindihan ko po doon and is that if we can train ourselves to listen, just actual listening, it would make a big difference on someone's life. Wow. Diba? So you just have to be there. You just have to listen and not do anything. Yun yung parang mali po kasi, diba? Parang mali na we should parang give advices and everything. Pero ang totoo po pala is that you just have to be there. You just have to be, you just have to listen. Yeah. So once again, thank you so much po, Mr. Kenneth Permejo. Yan. So that is our first panelist for this afternoon, for this event. Now we will move forward to our second panelist. Okay. So he is a registered psychometrician from Santa Maria, Bulacan. He took his master's degree in psychology at Polytechnic University of the Philippines. Currently, he is an acting operation head of Manila Youth Development and Welfare Bureau and head, Secretariat of Manila Youth Development Council. Our panelist today has an educational background of Bachelor in Human Behavior Technology in PUP Santa Mesa and master's degree in Community Development in UP Diliman. Without further ado, let us all welcome Dr. Avelino Cavinta Rivera.
Yes, I might close my video for a while because my it's very the signal is very low. Sorry for that. So I will be sharing for you some of the videos, or slides. My presentation will anchor on the basics of you need to address the very issue where we in now. No, why we have what is happening to us now. We are being transitioned in the so-called the VUCA world. VUCA means it's an acronym for issues united and based on the leadership choice of Warren Bennis and Van Banus. The stands volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. It's a response of the U.S. Army War College to the collapse of the USSR in the early 1990s, and suddenly there's no longer the only enemy, resulting in new ways of seeing and reacting to these kinds of world. Now, what is volatility means? We live in a world that's constant changing, become more stable each day, where changes big and small are becoming more unpredictable and are getting more and more dramatic and happening faster and faster. As events unfold in completely unexpected ways, it's becoming impossible to determine cause and effect and they're getting more and more dramatic and happening faster and faster. Next is the uncertainty. It's becoming more difficult to anticipate rarely applicable as a basis for predicting the shape of things come. It's becoming really impossible to pump for investment, development, and growth as it becomes increasingly uncertain where the route is heading in. The complexity. Our modern world is more complex than ever. What are the reasons? What are the effects? Problems and the repercussions are more multi-layered, harder to understand. The different layers intermingle, making it impossible to get an overview on how things are related. Decisions are
Ayan. So, this is live, guys. This is the reality. This is the internet of the Philippines, charot. um, so, since my internet interruption kay Mr. Avelino, we will now proceed. Is it okay to proceed to the third panelist? Ayan. So let us have, mamaya po natin i-continue yung sinasabi po ni Mr. Rivera. So let us have our third panelist actually, hindi po talaga sana siya, makakapunta dahil po may bagyo sa Iloilo and nagkaroon ng blackout. But fortunately, nandito po siya ngayon and sana hindi po siya interrupt ng internet po sa lugar na yun. So, yan. She, babae, yan. Our nag-iisang babae na panelist and speaker for this event. She is the wife of the former city councilor Lex Tupas and a mother to Alexa, Lextum, and Lexi. She is a fellow of the Philippine College of Radiology, and she is now on her second elected term as a city councilor of Iloilo City. Let us all welcome the city councilor of Iloilo, Dr. Candice Tupas.
Hi, ayong gabi sa tanan. Good evening to everyone. Professor Suzuki, I thank you very much for that very informative talk a while ago that you gave. I am Counselor Dr. Candice Magdalene Tupas. I am a practicing radiologist here in Iloilo City and also in the Philippines. And I'm also in my elected term as Iloilo City Councilor. Well, I don't have anything to share with you because of the slow internet and I might be cut off. So I will just share with you what I have done and what we do here in Iloilo City in terms of mental health. So, well, my first term was 2016. And in 2016, I noticed that for the months of March to June, there was a surge of suicide cases in Iloilo City. And what I also observed was usually those who would commit suicide would be the youth or teenagers. So that's why I made a privileged speech at that time. And from then on, mental health issue, aside from health advocacies, has been my advocacy here in Iloilo City. So, and because of that, I started mental health talks all over the city, especially to high school students. And I found out in my mental health talks, in my large talks that I would organize, the comments or the comments and the what usually the students would share is that mental health, they would always have problems with bullying, relationships, young relationships. Also, they would be ostracized. Some would also have problems on gender, and also teenage pregnancy is also a big problem here in Iloilo City, in our city. And usually, what they would share to me is that they don't know who to go to. They cannot talk to their parents. Usually, they would have problems at home, so that's why they would go to friends to seek help. And so it's usually because their parents are always out, or they come from broken families. And I think it's been there's proven data that teenage pregnancy would also be an impact, would also be a complication of broken families here, as we have found here in the Philippines. So what I did was to promote increase in mental health awareness all over the city. And I think right now they are increasing numbers of counselors in schools. And I'm still proposing that these students from the public schools, from the government schools, would have aptitude tests or attitude tests, and would be graded by psychometricians. And so now, in view of the pandemic, the Iloilo City government is also increasing mental health awareness, because being locked down for so long, I mean, we're on 7th month lockdown here in the country. We are in 7th month quarantine here in the country, and the schools are closed. With the slow internet, it's creating so much stress amongst many of the youth. I can see it with my children. They do online schooling, and sometimes our internet would just turn off. So it's really creating so much stress and frustration among students. So I would like to also, tell you what happened here recently. I think like 4 days ago, a 12-year-old boy committed suicide. From another town, from a nearby town. And in his suicide letter, it was written that it was because of the modules that from distance learning that he received, and he said he couldn't take it anymore. So I think there is more need for us to look into mental health issues, especially for the children, for the youth here in Iloilo City, and also, of course, in the Philippines. But the problem is, these children have nowhere to go to. Like what I said, the youth has a problem with telling their parents about what's wrong or about what's happening to them within their homes or outside school. And because of now that they have no friends to go to, then probably they resort to having more frustration, desperation, and which might lead to suicide. So I personally believe also in what Dr. Suzuki said, that it's the home. Home if your home is healthy, your mental health is also healthy, and I also believe in that. Personally, I see that I take strong support from family and friends right now, especially that we are in quarantine. um, every day I am exposed to different patients, uh, and I really don't know if they are, some of them are COVID asymptomatic or COVID positive, but I take it day by day. And my really all my goal to survive right now and to be COVID negative is um, to be able to come home to my children, especially that I am breastfeeding to my child, to my 8-month old baby. And I just take one day at a time, and I don't push so much. I don't strive too much to, unlike before, to earn more, or I don't pressure myself to uh, get more achievements at this time. It's just what is important for me is to stay healthy. I also do a lot of hobbies, like my husband and I would exercise together and just keep healthy. So I think that's what I can share with you. Um, Number one is what we are experiencing here in Iloilo City. And number two, the mental health talks that I have given all throughout the city. And number three, some tips on how we can stay healthy mentally during the time of pandemic. Thank you very much.
So thank you so much po, Dr. Candice Tupas, for that personal testimony and for sharing po your experience, your personal experience about mental health in Iloilo, in your family, and your personal experience. So ang naintindihan ko po doon is that ang alarming po is that mostly ang patients daw po na nagkakaroon ng na nadadiagnose sa depression is that yung mga youth, mga young ones. So sabi po ni doktora na yun nga po, mabigyan sana ng ating ng government ang importance ng pag-educate sa mental health and how it is really important for us to take care of our mental health and to teach this youth kung sino nga ba yung mga pwedeng kausapin kapag may problema po sila. And so yun lang po. So thank you so much po, Ma'am, Dr. Candice Tupas, for that short yet precise speech. Yan po. So ngayon po, pupunta na po tayo sa ating Q&A or the question and answer portion. So if you have any questions, you should just parang drop by and ask it sa YouTube, comment it, and we will read it and be answered. Ayan. So actually may mga questions na po tayo dito. Ayan, I will just read it and any of the panelists and the main speaker or even the our vice president in YSP can also answer. So the first question is to Mr. Shigehiro. You said that world peace comes from home, but what to do if my home itself is the cause of my anxiety and depression? Whenever I am home, I feel uneasy and am filled with anxiety. Should I go to somewhere else more healthy? Yun po. That's the question.
Now, I try to answer. Creating a peace in family is really difficult because it is connected to world peace eventually. First, uh, your pain that you're deceived in your family have to be healed. For that, please try to change the quality of memory. Try to understand differently. Pain in your heart is a sign that you have something to notice to become happy. And also, please find your core, draw your dream and vision. It will be the power to solve all the problems you will face in your life.
So thank you so much po, Dr. Shigehiro. Any more answers from the panelists? Is there any comments? None? Okay. So let's move on to the second question. Any of the panelists and the main speaker can answer. So, what makes a home healthy? Again, what makes a home healthy? Yan po. What makes a home healthy? So, sino po ang gustong sumagot po sa panelist and our main speaker?
Well, hi, Ma'am Jessie.
Yes, po.
Sorry, but anyway, well, you know, there's really no, you cannot really say there's really no perfect formula for having a healthy home. Like what I said before, from according to the statistics, usually people, the youth with having mental health problems like depression, or also teenage young women being pregnant at very early, such an early age, like teenage pregnancy. They usually come from families, broken families. You know, um, usually single mothers. Their mothers are also single mothers, or there is some rift within their families. So, but I think technically having a healthy home is having knowing someone who you can turn to, who you can talk to. And because I think that's also one of the reasons why these children cannot relate to their parents, because they feel that they are not understood. So um, being more open being more open and not shutting down the children with their questions or with their concerns is key for them to be able to open up freely to their parents. So I think it's really up to the parents first to reach out and show them that they are always ready to help their children and support their children.
So, thank you so much po, Dr. Candace Tupas. Ayan. So, next question naman po is, sabi niya po dito, I am a parent. Seems like my child doesn't open up to me. I feel he or she is having problems with his mental state, but when I ask him, he would say he's just fine. How can I make a healthy home environment with him? And how could I listen when he doesn't want to open up? Yun po. Sir Kenneth?
Right, I guess I could take this one. Okay, obviously the kid opening up to the parents is a gradual process. If the kid doesn't want to talk to the parents, that must have been something must have happened while he or she is growing up. That's why paano ba yung term nito? Hindi siya sanay, no, na makipag-communicate with the parents, no. So it's gonna be a gradual process. So what I'm just saying is, the parents should not just expect the kid to open up readily, ng biglaan, ng agad-agad, ng ganun-ganun na lang, no? So, the parent has to understand na kailangan bago kung gusto niyo mangyari yon, no, they should open up. And for example, if there's a major decision in the family, include that child, include the kid. Whatever decision that you're going to do, or like if you're just changing home, or you have to do whatever vacation that you have to do, so include the child for whatever decision. So that gradually will make the child understand that, okay, maybe they really are listening, maybe they really wanted to hear me. So sometimes the parent wanted the what do you call that, ang gusto ng magulang ay yung biglaang resulta na I want my kids to listen to me, and then they're going to do something that so that's not how it works. It's a gradual process. So they have to they have the parents have to gain the trust of the kid that they really are listening. So that will happen if, like what I'm saying is, every decision in the family you include the kid. If you don't wanna follow their suggestion, just listen to the kid. O nak, ganito yung gagawin namin ngayon ni daddy, no? Ano bang masasabi mo? Meron ka bang gustong may suggestion ka ba, o meron ka bang sasabihin tungkol sa decision na to? So include the kid. And gradually, kapag he has problem or she has problems now, she'll know na, oh, okay, mommy's listening naman whenever I tell them. So maybe I can tell them now if I have problems. So ang problema ko with the parents of Filipino family is they're gonna, once they feel that the kid is having problem, that's when they ask. Doon sila nagtatanong na, no? But from the previous experience ng bata sa kanila, hindi naman ako tinatanong ng ni mami kapag may mga ano ko, so why should I tell them now? So yun ang ini-emphasize ko, na it's a gradual process, that they should understand na hindi yan basta-basta nangyayari, and they have to gain the trust of the kid muna. So eventually we'll go there, and then siguro that will loosen up talaga yung paggagawa nila ng wall. And yeah, I hope the answers that somehow answers the question. Right.
Thank you so much po, Sir Kenneth. May additional po ang ating main speaker, Dr. Shigehiro Suzuki.
It is important to understand his feelings. I don't understand all your thoughts, but I understand your feelings and try to bring out the good nature of him. The key is to share the pain each other. It is difficult to totally understand one's heart, but please try to sympathize one's heart. Don't expect others to do for yourself. You are the one to solve the problems.
Okay. Thank you so much po, Dr. Suzuki. So anything pa po additional? None? So let us move on to the fourth and last question. Are drugs or therapy better for mental health conditions? Ulitin ko po. Are drugs or therapy better for mental health conditions? Anyone can answer.
That's our what?
Are drugs or therapy? Are drugs or therapy better for mental health conditions?
Okay, are drugs therapy better for mental health conditions? Okay, so I guess on my end, no, because I'm not a doctor, we don't recommend them. We don't recommend drugs or drug therapy for the question. No? But actually, it is advisable to have both, like psychotherapy and then some medication for the maintenance. Or but it is still important for the psychotherapy is still important. The drug therapy or the medication for whatever mental health that you're going through is just there to help you emotionally or to make you emotionally stable. But psychotherapy still helps the client to understand what he's or her going through, and to have his um own control of her or his mental health problem. Kung kung magkakaroon ng therapy kasi, mas makokontrol niya na, okay, this is what I'm feeling, this is how I should do, this is how I should help myself. Yung self-help, that's the main goal kasi ng psychotherapy, it's self-help. So eventually, you don't need the therapy anymore because you can help yourself. That's the main goal. But if you're not taking psychotherapy, or there's no psychotherapy involved, and you're just taking medication, that's not gonna help the client. So the client's gonna be dependent on the drugs or on the medication, but she or he can't help himself now because there's no psychotherapy. So it should work hand in hand. So that's on my end, but of course we have doctors here, so that's what they do naman. So that's on my end lang. Thank you.
Thank you so much po, Sir Kenneth, for that wonderful answer. Ayan po. So, are there any additionals po for our panelists? Since we have doctors here.
Yes. Can I take it?
Yes, yes.
Hi.
Si Mr. Abilino po. Mr. Abilino, are you still there? Okay po, Dr. Candice Tupas. Yes po.
Yes. Well, I think there is such a thing as a mental health disorder, and someone who's just suffering from mental health issues. So if you are clinically diagnosed to have a mental health disorder, for example, you have clinically depressed, or you have something that falls under what we call as a diagnostic manual category grade of 5, anything that has a diagnosis of a mental health disorder like bipolar disorder, or uh, depression, schizophrenia, then it is really very much needed to go through to take medications, antipsychotics, antidepressants, also go through psychotherapy, and of course some should even be admitted in a mental health institution. But what people, it's really usually a misconception. If you have a mental health disorder from just suffering from a mental health issue, you're just feeling sad, you're just feeling lonely, you're just feeling alone. So that's why it's important for especially for Filipinos to be more proactive in consulting doctors and as well as counselors who can uh, who can who can give them the path of what they really have. Are you clinically depressed, or are you just feeling sad and lonely? Just so you will be able to know if you are really a candidate for taking medications, for taking psychotherapy, or also being admitted into a mental health institution, or just by being able to just go through it and do other uh, activities that would help alleviate your problem, like just feeling sad or just feeling angry. So it really depends on a person to person basis.
And thank you so much po, Dr. Candace Tupas. That would be the end of our question and answer portion. So thank you so much po for our main speaker and also our panelists for this event, for answering all the questions. Yeah. So let us have our closing remarks. Ayan. Ayan. So tapos na po tayo sa ating mga presentations from our panelists and from our main speaker. So thank you so much po for giving your time to us. Ayan. So let us proceed to our closing remarks. It will be given by, of course. She is a passionate and determined youth leader since her college until now. She received her bachelor's degree in public administration from Universidad de Manila in 2018. She graduated as one of the most outstanding university students. Currently, she is the program coordinator of World Collegiate Association for the Research of the Principles (NCR) and the head of training and membership youth of Youth and Student for Peace Filipinas. So let us all welcome for our closing remarks, Miss Ella May Perez.
So, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for that very pleasant introduction. So, my closing remarks is very short. And after this speech, actually, I made something for all of you. Then, I would like to thank for all those powerful people who completed our program, to our YSP Vice President, Dr. Suzuki of Japan, Mr. Kenneth of Parochial School, Mr. Abelino of Manila Youth Bureau. Despite of his internet interruption, yeah, we are so grateful. And to Dr. Candice, City Councilor of Iloilo. We know that all of you have a very busy schedule, but despite that, you all still granted a request to share your expertise and experience to remind and inspire all the youth and students tonight. Of course, I would like also to extend my gratitude to all our participants locally and if we have internationally also. I'm so happy that you granted yourself, no, to pause for a while from your very busy schedule, from your online class module, or even working at home, no, and be part of this mental health awareness of YSP. To start, personally, I'm so happy being part of this program because for me, mental health really matters because there is also a point in my life that I encounter several times this kind of problem that proves me that no one is exempted to this kind of problem. Way back in my high school and sometimes even right now, I'm still struggling within myself. I'm an introvert, so that um yeah, I'm introvert, so that I'm lack in socialization. But thank you because as we see the world, it totally mess, right? So the world is so in chaos. And that problem within myself, even within my family and within my society helped me to explore more and even ask God why the world is like this. So when I was in college, yeah, way back 2014, I met W Corp, affiliate organization of YSP. And that was the time that I started to little by little understand the society, my family, and even my own self. And then that's why now I can firmly say that this organization honed me and helped me to understand deeper what is life is. Until right now, I'm part of this organization. I'm just 22, youth like you, but right now I'm the YSP and membership training head. I never imagined myself, honestly, to be in this place or to handle this kind of responsibility. Because as I said, I don't have social skills. I don't have confidence to engage in different conversation. But all of this changed when I started to participate to this organization and dig more deeper again about the purpose of my life. Now I have full courage and determination to dream and even dream bigger. That someday, yeah, this is one of my dream, yeah, that someday I will become a lawyer and be part of the solution of the problem that we are facing right now. I would like to encourage all the youth and students listening right now. Let's work on this together because everyone needs help and everyone also could give help. Okay, as we and then as everyone also could defeat or overcome this mental health problem. Maybe not by yourself, but just believe it. We can do it together. And yeah, God's power and guidance are always at our back. And we, YSP Filipinas, together with our affiliate organization, are here to help. We are very willing to give all the best thing we could do to contribute to lessen this mental health issue. We have several programs that could help you, our youth and students, to relieve their stress, handle their depression, and even divert their anxiety into much more meaningful things. We will learn to live for the sake of others. From that, we will realize the value of our lives and we will feel the true happiness that we are looking for. Let's unleash our full potential and help each other as well. So actually, to truly offer my gratitude to all of you, I made a very simple and humble spoken poetry. This one entitled Huwag, and I made this piece mainly for this event. This video is very raw. I just recorded it last night, very late at night. Even my colleagues here in my office didn't know this. So I want to offer it to all of you as part of my gratitude. This is raw, no edit. So please bear this with this video and hope you could enjoy. And again, this is my message to all of you, this spoken poetry. And again, thank you so much. And yeah, let's watch this.
Remarks to all of you. Actually, I made a very simple and humble piece for all of you. But I'm hoping that you could enjoy this one. And again, this is my message for all of us. This one entitled Huwag. And in English, don't if we have international delegates. But sorry because I really use Tagalog language here. Okay. So I'll start. Simula pa lang, ng una mong pag-iyak, kasabay ng pagngiti ng iyong mga magulang. Hindi mo pa batid ang bumasa, pero sa iyong mga palad, ang iyong layunin ay nakasulat na.
It's really crazy.
Alam ko na minsan mo na itong natuklasan, lakap at pinanghawakan. Ngunit ngayon, ito sa'yo ay unti-unting naglalaho, unti-unting nawawala at tinutunaw ng iba't ibang masasakit na sitwasyon at isama mo pa ang kahapon. Kaya naman ngayon ang tanong mo, ito pa ba ay totoo? Dahil kung oo ay ano? Nasaan? Bakit parang ang labo hindi ko matanaw ang sinasabing pag-asa? At dahilan ng paghinga, ang gulo? Oo. Alam ko, dahil minsan ko na rin niyang tinanong sa sarili ko. Nagtatakbo upang suyurin ng mundo sa kabila ng ingay nito at nung napagod ako, ayun ang pagkataon na pinakinggan ko naman ang sarili ko. Na mahanap mo ang ikaw sa iyo. Kaya huwag mong kakalimutan yung unang pagkakataon mong natutong kumulay, naramdaman na itong mundo pala ay may buhay. Huwag mong kakalimutan yung una mong iginuhit na pangarap sa papel nung ikaw ay nasa elementarya pa lamang. Huwag mong kakalimutan yung saya at inspirasyong nadama nung una mong pagsuot ng toga, una mong pagtanggap ng diploma, sabay kuha ng letrato at sabi mo doon, ipinost mo sa Facebook ang caption, ito pa lang ang umpisa. Huwag mong kakalimutan yung mga paborito mong pagkain, simpleng laro, mga simpleng bagay na nagbibigay sa'yo sigla. Huwag mong kakalimutan yung mga panahong naging masaya ka, nakatulong at nagbigay saya. Huwag mong kakalimutan yung pagmamahal ng iyong mga magulang, kaibigan, kapatid at isama mo pa yung mga taong hindi mo kilala na nagiging inspirasyon ka. Huwag mong kakalimutan, nakakayanin mo yan. Huwag mong pipiliin ng pagsuko, subukan mo ang lahat ng paraan, higpitan ng hawak sa pag-asa, at ikaw ay aahon nito sa pagkabaon. Huwag mong iisipin na ang paglisan sa mundong ito na ang tuldok sa halo-halong problema, iba't ibang bigat na dinadala. Huwag mong kakalimutan, nakakayanin mo yan. Kasama kami, sila, lahat ng taong nagmamahal at magmamahal pa sa'yo. Huwag mong kakalimutan na ang Diyos ay laging nandyan, handang gumabay at handa kang samahan kahit saan mang laban. Kahit alam ko na minsan, na hindi mo pa siya nagawang ipaglaban. Sa tuwing darating ang panahon na gusto mo nang tuldukan, alalahanin na hindi sagot ang paglisan. Di pa man malinaw sa iyo ngayon, sa dilim ng paningin, bigat ng damdamin, pero maniwala ka, may mahalaga kang layunin. Pakiusap, huwag kang bibitiw. Maraming salamat po. Thank you so much.
Huwag kang bibitiw. Nax! Napakagaling naman po. So, thank you so much po sa ating Membership and Training Head sa YSP Pilipinas, Miss Ella May Perez. Alam ko naman po na kahit raw na yun, napakaganda, actually, nakaka-inspire. So, thank you so much po. And of course, thank you so much po sa ating main speaker and ating mga panelists for this event. Kahit po na sobrang struggle and marami pong interruption, naging successful pa rin po ang ating event. So, thank you so much po. And for our news and announcement, so ang ating, please like, subscribe, and share our YSP Pilipinas in Facebook and in YouTube. Any announcement po from our panelists na gustong commercialize or i-announce? None? Okay po. So, once again, thank you so much po for all our participants na nasa YouTube ngayon, and to all our panelists and our speaker. So thank you so much po, and bye-bye. Be healthy.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you po.